The Synod Deacon Program assists the pastor specifically by giving him actually more hands and more ability to do the mission and ministry that otherwise, pastoral duties that might otherwise fall completely to the pastor, or the expectation that the pastor himself or herself accomplish those tasks. The Synod Deacon can be raised up for a specific task, and then as a servant of the church, that deacon then can serve on behalf of the pastor and on behalf of the congregation in special ministry. It is especially incumbent upon the deacons to be aware of the community as well, and bearing witness of God's love and grace to the community as well. So Synod deacons also serve as examples of the ministry of the church moving out from the congregation itself, out into the community to meet the needs of those who are the poor, the needy, the disenfranchised of our community, and bringing God's love and grace to them as well.
My interest began actually with the statement from the World Council of Churches in 1982 on baptism, Eucharist, and ministry. It was an exciting statement because it was the first time in 1,200 years that all of Christendom had issued an agreed upon statement to the world. And that statement on ministry had to do with recognizing the historic expression of ministry in three parts, in the three functions of bishop, priest, and deacon. At the same time, I was interested in establishing and emphasizing lay ministry in the church and fulfilling that function of deacon, which had really fallen over the years into disuse. And so I began my doctoral project on establishing a diaconate within my own congregation, a cadre of leaders that you could always count on, expressing some of the pastoral ministry as well as lay ministry. And so that was very successful in the congregation. In 1998, Bishop William Trexler called me. He asked to read my dissertation, to look at my project, and then asked me to chair a committee that would establish a diaconate within this Florida Bahamas Synod, expressing that same function, establishing a cadre of leaders. The Synod diaconate is firmly based in the congregation and tied to the pastoral ministry, and at the same time it is listed within the Synod by the bishop, and so fills that functional office.
I think the way that we've defined the understanding of deacons here in Florida is that they work directly with the pastor and through the pastor. So they are an extension of the pastor's office working together. And I think working as a team in that way, there is no problem I see that should undermine the pastor's presence. In fact, if anything, I think it's strengthened because the deacons and the pastor together can really reach out with what is necessary to strengthen the ministry in that place.
This is one of the important factors of the deacon program, is to be an assist to the pastor in their mission to present God's word to the community. The deacons are from many areas of background. Their expertise may be in music, their expertise may be in Christian education, liturgy, hospital administration, or parish nursing, or church administration. We now have had 85 individuals consecrated as synod deacons. We have 67 churches, congregations that have deacons within their congregation or candidates in study.
The Synod Diaconate Program has been in existence 10 years, and in that time we are approaching 100 deacons in the program, a program that is continuing to blossom throughout the Synod and is a real help to both pastors and congregations, because it does provide that cadre of leadership throughout the congregation's history and the service of the deacon in that church.
It's a ministry of word and service, and it's a chance to really get involved in the church and help people, and to employ my God-given talents in a way that's just totally changed my life.
Being a synodical deacon has not really changed my faith. It has strengthened it over the years working with people. I also spend a lot of time calling on shut-ins, hospital visits, when pastor's not available. I work at his right arm.
I think for me, the desire to help and to do more and to be an assistant to the pastor in a way that he doesn't have. I come from a very large congregation, and we currently have one pastor because we don't, like a lot of churches, financially struggle and have not been able to call an associate pastor, which we desperately need. So it was a way to take some of his load, but have the proper training to do it. And that. So a lot of it was to work closer with my pastor and to be able to help the church that I love.
The training for the Synodical Deacon Program is not very difficult. There are several ways that this can be accomplished. First off, you must have some discernment period with your congregation pastor, because the pastor is the one that nominates you for the program. Since you would be working under the supervision of the pastor after you have completed your training, he has to feel very comfortable with you. And the relationship that you have with your pastor needs to be a solid one. The training consists of 6 educational courses and some practicum. The program was initially designed that the training would be a one-on-one with the candidate and the pastor of the congregation. There are some other ways that this training now can be accomplished. In 2006, the National Diaconia Program was introduced into the Florida Bahamas Synod. That is a 2-year lay theological program that has all these 6 courses that we require as a synodical training, and you can complete that if you so wish. You do not have to become a deacon after you complete that program, but we have had many of the graduates of the Diaconia Program put in their application after the completion of the first year even, that they felt the call to be a synodical deacon.
Each of the synods expresses the function of diaconal ministry in its own way. Here in the Florida Synod, we wanted to require some training and education for people who wanted to express their faith in this way, but we wanted to keep it minimal and basic. We have also, since this program got started, instituted the Diaconia Program. There's some confusion because of the root words for ministry, diaconia. The Diaconia Program is an excellent vehicle through which deacons can achieve the level of training in the academic area and theology that they need, but it is not in and of itself connected to the Synod Diaconate Program in any way. It just happens to meet the education requirement. There has been some confusion as to people and some pastors thinking that their deacons have to take this program, and they do not. It is based with the pastor, so the pastor can train the deacons him or herself. There are also throughout the Synod some little small groupings of schools of theology just for the purpose of training deacons within their area. So the Diaconia Program is the most popular, and it is a good vehicle. On the other side, some people who take the Diaconia Program think that they will automatically become Synod deacons. Again, I emphasize the 2 programs are not related whatsoever, except that the Diaconia Program is a good vehicle.
I began in the Diaconia education program a year ago. I'm currently in my 2nd year of that, and realized that it was a calling to continue to serve and serve in a greater way, and going on and becoming a deacon was the opportunity to do that for me, and spoke with the pastor, and he thought it was a great idea, so here I am.
We have currently 3 deacons and a 4th one in training. Each deacon serves in the pastoral office and in the pastoral care function by visiting sick and shut in, by working together in hospital calls, by also the worship life in serving in assisting ministers' positions and the like. But in addition to that, we look at each deacon in terms of their particular interest and skill level and develop an area in which they will focus. For example, one of my deacons focuses in administration, working with a committee that does that. Another one of my deacons has worked in the area of worship coordination. Another one of my deacons works with property and the volunteers that work on the property. Another one of my deacons has worked with Christian education. Each deacon doing a general function of extending the pastoral office, but at the same time working in areas of skill and interest that they have particular gifts to share.
As I look into the future, the Synod Diaconate Program becomes more valuable. It has become valuable to each and every bishop we've had. And what we look at in the future, of course, is that we live in a time where the church is changing very much, and also we live in a recession right now, and in the foreseeable future, deacons, we can see into the future that deacons at some point may be serving under the auspices of the bishop's office in congregations that cannot afford a pastor, for example. We can also see a time when in the bishop's office that the bishop may call upon deacons to serve in various capacities that were once held by some, when we had more staff, and held by some of the assistants. So that deacons can pick up some of the portfolio of the church. So as time goes on, it is becoming much more valuable and, in a sense, expressing more clearly that function, that ancient traditional function of the deacon in the church.
The Synod Deacon Program, of course, is open to all laypersons who feel an inner call by God to do something very special and perhaps meaningful for them personally, to express their love for God and their faith in meaningful ways. The Deacon Program is available. It provides opportunity for study, deepening of one's own personal faith in this faith journey, and then if the person continues to feel called in this direction, the layperson could become a Synod deacon by being consecrated for that service following the course of education that's required for all of our deacons. Deacons then become a part of a synodical listing of all deacons, and we always hope and pray that that ministry is not only in the congregation but in the community and in many ways throughout the whole church and throughout our synod.
I encourage anyone that is interested in this program to look on the website of the Florida Bahamas Synod, www.fbsynod.com, and under the category Making Disciples, there is a little link for the Synod website. It has a lot of information on that website, an application and training record, and some questions that are frequently asked about the program. I would suggest that you go there. If you have any other questions, you can contact the Synod office in Tampa.
I've just had a real fulfilling experience doing that. If you're searching for something in your faith life, this might be the avenue that helps you realize that journey.
I was looking for a way to serve God. And when the Deacon Program came available, even though I had been accepted to seminary, it was a way for me to serve God, keep my family together.
It's changed my life in where I really feel that I'm using my talents to serve in the church in a way that there was a hole in me that it's now filled.